Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Interview with DJ Nocturna. This show will air on Saturday, September 18, 2021. And if you're watching on my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. My guests are the duo, the husband and wife duo of the dark wave. There you are. The dark wave electronic industrial project called EgoLikeness. I've got Donna Lynch and Stephen Archer. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Good evening and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And I should also include one more person or one more special person over in the back of there.
Yes, this is Sophie.
Sophie.
She
Oh
is
yeah.
probably more well known than we are.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, look at that. I mean, she made an appearance. That's all, and she was invited actually. Thank you for joining me. You know, I know you guys been EgoLikeness been around now for like what, over 20 years?
yeah, since
Over 20 years, something like that, 1998.
mhm.
Yeah, that's a long time. And I know you guys are like glue, I think, you know. You guys keep it together and you guys work well together. I'm sure many people have told you that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think is the secret to that, to keeping it together and keeping it strong? And
You know, I don't know what the other would do without. I'm not sure.
No
sure
one
how
else
we
would put
do-
up with our bullshit.
Yeah, like it's kind of funny because when people talk about relationships, you always want to think that long-lasting relationships of any kind are just this thing that organically happens. But I don't think that's true. We both very much believe that you have to work at it all the time and you make the decisions all the time to continue to stay together or not. That being said, when you get into a relationship that also becomes a career path, a shared goal or something like that, it really changes. I don't know. This might be weird to say, but I think that there's times where if we weren't certain what the best thing for us as a couple was going to be, it was almost like we were working through it for the kids being the band, like working through it for, it's been something that helped us stay together. And I think the strength of our marriage has helped the band stay together. So it's sort of this
yeah.
symbiotic thing.
I mean, when you guys met, did you know that you were gonna form this band and that it was gonna? Did you have any idea that could, that you guys had a connection that way?
I mean, Stephen had always, been in bands before we even met, and I was a classical musician. I wanted to do what he was doing. I wanted to be in my own band. I wanted to write my own music, but I had never met anybody up until that point that was motivated enough and had even come close to doing something like that. So when we got together, and I guess he realized that I actually had some musical chops and, the interest, it just made sense to start doing it. And there wasn't even really a discussion about it. It was like we just started music. I was very nervous. I didn't want to go put ourselves out there as soon as we did, but he kind of pushed for it. And ultimately that was good. I would have.
Well, we had another band for a while. I think that was good because it helped her learn how to.
Is that the Seraphim?
Seraphim Gate, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you guys started as a side project of that,
Yeah.
and then they decided to go do something else.
So we just kept going
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, I had no stage fright. I'd been performing for years.
Yeah.
I was a kid, so it wasn't that. It was exposing yourself with your own music, and
I mean, yeah, you were playing the piano when you were really young, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's how so piano was your first instrument?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you had the support of your family. They were very. I know they were musical too, right? Your
Yeah,
parents.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my
Oh.
father has played country music his whole life. He lived in Nashville for a long time, and my mom never did any music professionally, but she's got a lovely voice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so when you guys met, I mean, he kind of told me a little bit how you met. on the interview we did last week? I know you met in some goth shop, right?
Well, I worked at the punk store, and he DJed
Oh,
at the goth club. So, we knew each other for a while. We didn't start dating right away or anything, but yeah, I was the girl at the punk rock store, and he was the DJ at the goth club.
oh yeah. So, who's the primary songwriter, or do you both share that?
Yeah, he is the primary person that writes all of the music, and I write the lyrics and the
Oh,
melodies. There's been some back and forth over the years,
Which
but
is ironic, since she's the one who actually knows how to like music, play instruments.
I mean, I know how to play music, but songwriting is not the same. You can know how to play an instrument very, very well, and it doesn't mean you can write a song. It's a very different skill.
yeah. So, what are the central themes of your music? I mean, if you had to like, I know it's about love and passion. I know it's very passionate.
It's there's a lot of well, we use a lot of themes, a lot of fairy tales, a lot of mythology, a lot of
Mhm.
folklore references and things like that. But really, the songs aren't about that. Those are just sort of allegories that we're using to talk about other things. And a lot of it is talking. A lot of the stuff that I write the lyrics to, I think it's very much about self-awareness and very much about facing your own darkness and your own struggles and trying to rise above it. But at the same time, there's a lot of, I address a lot of the times and ways that people can be consumed by those things, because that's a very human thing to go through. It's nice to be inspiring, and it's nice to have these ideas of like, oh, you can rise above everything. It's like, yeah, but also sometimes you just are in it, and it's bad for a while. So
Mhm.
kind of talk
Yeah.
about that stuff. I don't want to
Yeah.
pretend like you can just be the phoenix out of the ashes all the time. Sometimes you're just the ashes.
You guys, are you guys mostly together all the time, or do you guys have time to you kind of like take, because you're married, so you live in the same house, right? So do you guys see each other a lot, or do you have sometimes like say, I'm gonna disappear for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, we see each other every day, but Steve has several studio spaces around the house and the property, so he's often
Um,
there, and we have different sleep schedules. So, we do spend a little bit of time together, but it's sometimes it's busier than others. Like right now, he's getting everything together for all the Stone Burner stuff.
yeah, just released a few days ago. Got it
So
right
he's
here.
working on, yeah, such a great album.
Ape
Um,
Predator on the Comp International.
yeah. So he's been super busy with that, but that's okay, because I've been writing my own, work, my poetry and the horror.
Yeah, so you're like a horror writer too. You write poetry. You love horror is your favorite genre, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, yeah.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. What are some of the things you've written and
I have written. I think I just finished my 8th poetry collection.
oh
Yeah,
I,
that
yeah,
is.
I hadn't actually like.
Yeah, and sat down and counted it out. Yeah, yeah. I think so. It's in the editing process now. Like I've gotten
oh
all
yeah.
edit all the changes that I have to make to it back before. So that'll come out next year. But let's see, in 2019, I guess I got nominated for a Bram Stoker Award. I didn't win
Yes, I heard about that.
for
Yeah.
a collection called Choking Back the Devil. So that was cool. And the year before that, we were nominated for Witches, which was an illustrated poetry collection that Steve and I collaborated on. So it's been fun. But I've written a couple of novels and a novella and a few short stories, but mostly it's the horror poetry.
And I know you sell them in your tours, right?
Yeah, usually. I mean, it depends on how much space we have. I try to bring stuff with us, but it can
That's
be,
great. That's awesome.
yeah.
So, being because I know you're also guest in some of these horror shows.
Mhm.
I know you get invited quite a bit, right? Some of these shows they talk about a little bit about.
Conventions and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoy doing that stuff because I like doing the readings, when you can go in and read a few pieces in front of back when live audiences were a thing.
Hopefully soon again. I mean,
Yeah.
do you do that in your shows as well? Do you incorporate your horror thing on your shows?
Um, we haven't really. I mean, I guess the closest
The
thing was,
imagery and the videos.
well, the
and
image,
stuff.
yeah, the background videos that we play on stage, have a lot of horror element to it. But I think probably the closest thing we've come to that was years ago when we had a project called the Trinity Project. There was a lot of spoken word.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tell us about that. I heard about that, the Trinity Project.
It's been so many years, I don't remember a whole lot, but I do. No, it was fun. There was a lot of improv stuff musically, and then but I would do spoken word pieces, just very like little snippets of stories that I would read over the this ambient and kind of experimental and sometimes noise, sometimes a little more melodic, but it was fun to it wasn't very structured, so in a good way,
Yeah, yeah.
just kind of go with it. So yeah, that was fun.
Is EgoLikeness also going on that goth tour? Is it just Steven? Are you also gonna go to the goth cruise?
Yeah, I'll be there, but we're not
Oh,
performing as Ego.
oh, okay, okay. That's so much fun.
She'll be doing a couple songs with me though.
Yeah, but
Oh,
we're not
okay.
doing EgoLikeness set this year. Hopefully, if everything continues to go okay with the cruise lines, we should be on there next year, so for 2022.
Yeah. Do you guys, when you guys do a tour, how do you pick your songs that you're gonna be performing in the concert and the tour?
We figure out what we can remember.
Yeah, whichever ones were less likely to mess up.
I mean, is it based on what people like the most, or what sells the most albums, or
Yeah, I mean, it's
The ones that are the most fun to do.
yeah.
Okay, you're still over there. Sorry, it just sorry that he's just
If I thought I had something more to say, I'd come up with it.
disembodied voice in the background. Yeah, I mean, picking ones that are fun to do is, I mean, that's really how you don't get burned out night after night after night. But so yeah, it's kind of nice because I feel like largely the pieces the songs that we like the most are also ones that the audience is also that we get requests for.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of it it ends up being pretty good. And of course, if we have a new single out or
Yeah,
new
a new
album,
album.
try to focus on give that stuff some time.
Do you guys have any if you want to go somewhere in particular, is there a place you would like to travel to that you haven't been to yet?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of places.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Have you been to Hawaii? Not yet, yeah.
No, it's the only state
Uh,
we haven't been to.
Really, the only state?
Only state we have
Oh
not.
my gosh.
So we should try to remedy that when it's safe.
Yeah, definitely. I can't believe you guys haven't been here, not even for vacation.
No. We
Oh
never
yeah. Well, there is sun, so you have to like get your
Oh, we're huge. I mean, we go to the Caribbean all the time. So
Oh, okay.
I'm not afraid of sunlight.
Yeah.
I just
Oh
have to
wow.
wear a lot of sunscreen. No, we would both love to go to Hawaii. It's just, I mean, it took some doing to get to Alaska. So Hawaii is,
Yeah.
it's not,
You know what?
can't
If I
just
can
get in the car.
if I can go to Baltimore, which I do, you guys can come to Hawaii.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
No, I go to both. I go to Washington D.C. quite a bit and
Oh,
Maryland.
cool.
So so being a female musician, a very talented one, and a very passionate one, do you find there are still challenges out there, being that it's a male industry? The music industry is dominated by the male dominated industry. Do you think it's
Yeah, I absolutely think that's a thing, but I have to be honest, I don't experience a lot of it firsthand. And I don't know if it's just because I've been doing this for so long,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or if I have the, you know, protective coating of being with Steve and being around with
You're
Mike and
scary.
Rick, and that's a shame if the only reason I'm not being mistreated is because there's other men around. Like, that's not cool. But and Steve just yelled that I'm scary. I don't. I mean,
No, she's
I'm
not.
tall. I'm tall. I think that's sort of alarming sometimes when I'm walking in and I've got my big boots on, so I'm at 6'1", and I think it immediately throws
You
this.
know, I know. I think the it's a little different in this particular genre of music. I think it's very friendly.
I think
I mean, that's
I
my opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think you're right. I have met far more people in this scene, between other bands and promoters and
Yeah.
just everybody that they're not awful. They're really nice people.
I
And
know. Yeah. We get along.
yeah, they get
Yeah, I
along.
mean,
I don't get harassed, and I don't get, but like you said, I mean, I know that happens. Just because it doesn't happen to me doesn't mean it isn't out there. But I know in other scenes, I mean, I feel for a lot of
yeah,
the women that I know in the metal scene.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm
It's awful.
sure.
Yeah, so it's
I
out.
just, for me, I know that, I'm a DJ, but I know I get along with a lot of guys in this music in the industry,
Yeah.
more so, and even girls. But I just find, I think it's friendly, pretty
Yeah.
much.
I think the worst thing that used to happen when we were starting out was we'd be loading in and I would hear from like another band or somebody in the club, like, oh, are you the merch person? Are you the merch girl?
Oh yeah. Oh
And it's like, okay,
no.
well, maybe I could have been, but you probably didn't need to assume that right out of the gate. You could have, I mean, I could have been anybody. So,
You know
you know,
what it is? Because a lot of the merch people are women, so
yeah,
they just assume that. But it doesn't, I don't know. People
yeah,
people assume things all the time.
right, right.
You
So,
know, if there was something you wish you could have done back in the day, but you didn't, what would it be?
um, I mean,
As it relates to maybe like ego likeness.
there's a lot of things. I think I wish we would have had a better sense of the direction we were heading
Mhm.
stylistically.
Yeah, yeah,
I wish we, hadn't burned through so many band members, and not, it wasn't always because of huge interpersonal problems. It was just things, it just wasn't the direction that we wanted to go. And there was a lot of trial and error. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that it ate up a lot of years that we could have, if we had known what we wanted to do more cohesively, we could have like had things moving a little bit faster and smoother possibly. But because we just kept starting, scratching it and starting over and scratching it and starting over, I mean, at least that's how it felt. So I felt like that kind of, and then by the time we actually had a name for ourselves, we were sort of at the tail end of you know, the trend that was around when we started, of the female fronted,
Yeah. And
music.
sometimes it's like experience, right? I mean, you have to go through it to actually like say, oh man, I wish I did it that way instead, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I will say this one thing that I am glad for the way things worked out is I'm very, very glad that we never went on tour but earlier than we did. If I had been younger, I mean, I think I was 31 when we did our first European tour. And if I had been younger than that, I don't know that I would have been able to handle it. So,
Yeah, it was just the right timing, I guess. All
yeah,
about timing, right?
yeah. And, at the time I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, we're so old to be just starting this. And now I'm like, why would I think that? Like, I think we were not old.
Age is just a number.
Yeah.
you know, um, being that you guys traveled a lot, you've been to all these different, events and states and countries. How do you see the evolution of the goth culture, from the beginning when you first started now to now? Do you think it changed quite a bit? I know people come and go, right? They get married.
Yeah,
they-
I mean, the crowd sizes have changed a lot for live shows and everything. But
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think the scene could have stood to have changed more. And it's been hard for newer bands to, and really good bands, newer bands to really break in to the scene as far as like the people who have been around, a lot longer. There's not a lot of acceptance of new stuff, and I think that that's hurt things. I mean, I'm all for tradition, and I think it's great, to still love the bands that were around at the beginning of this scene, and the major, players and the, just those monster hits and stuff. As far as the, goth club dance floors go, like that's great, but there has not been a wide acceptance of new material and new blood, and I think it's hurt things, to be honest. It's like everybody will run to the floor for
Yeah.
Sisters of Mercy, but God forbid there's a band you've never heard of, opening or playing some night. It's like it's just
Yeah.
so hard to get people
I always believe you got to support the record label. You got to support the new bands and new music, and that's why we do these interviews and try to get music out there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I think we got to keep the culture going. Keep the music going.
yeah, definitely. And there's
Yeah.
the scene isn't dying, it's just changing, and people need to be willing to change with it.
Right. 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 Um. You know. Is there an artist that you guys would like to work with? If you guys can, is there any like an artist out? I know you probably there are many. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, there's a ton.
Yeah, I
um,
know. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's there's yeah, I mean, there's, I don't know, it's, I always feel silly saying that, because then I'm like, oh my god, like that sounds so outlandish, why would that person want to work with me? So
No,
it's a hard,
you know what? You never know. They're probably thinking the same thing.
well,
I
I'll
want
tell
to
you, one
work
of
with
my
Donna Lynch.
most favorite artists of all times is Jim Thirlwell from Fetus, and it's like if we ever got to do something with him, that would,
Okay, well, maybe we'll put it out there.
yeah.
I'll manifest it. By the way, I love your I love your version, your cover of the Cars Drive.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
I never hear that version. I mean, people don't even. I still remember that when that video came out in MTV,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my god. And then when Benjamin Orr died, I was like, oh man, will never hear that song again.
I know. Yeah. I was such a
um,
fan of all of the 80s, like the rock and new wave crossover stuff, like
yeah,
um,
yeah.
there's in Flesh for Lulu, and
Oh yeah, so good.
like just I love that style of music so much. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful. I mean, I love playing it, and I think I'll play it when I play the interview. I will play a lot of your music.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so and I think I'll play that one and some other stuff. If you have any requests, let me know if you want me to play something. And so what is in the horizon for ego likeness? What's coming up?
It sometimes it feels like I don't know, but I'm not. I know I'm not ready. We're not ready to hang it up. It's there's just been so much focus on Stoneburner, which is good,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah.
that's been a thing that Steven's been working on building for so long, that it's not, it hasn't been the end of the world to like sort of take a back seat to it for the time being, because like we said in the beginning, I mean, we've had EgoLikeness for over 20 years, and
Hmm.
I am trying to figure out where I want to go, because I'm very proud of what we've done,
Yeah.
sound we've had, but I'm ready for it to just be a little different. And I have to figure out what it is I want to say and how that would translate. And so in a way, it's been good to have him, you know, doing all the Stoneburner stuff right now, because it's giving me a chance to sit and really
Yeah, it's like a take a break.
to visualize where I want to go
Mhm.
next. Because if we were just on this tight schedule of like, oh, we got to get another album, you know, you don't have a lot of time to regroup or think about those things.
Yeah. What are your sun signs?
Oh, I don't. I mean, I'm a Cancer, but I don't know. And Steve's a Leo. I don't
Okay. Okay. No, yeah, that's good.
think beyond that. You're like, what's your moon? I'm like, I don't know. No idea.
You know, I know you got a beautiful cat over there behind you. Where did she go? Sophie.
Oh, she's with.
Oh, there she is. Yeah,
Yes.
we gotta. I've been wanting to ask you about her because I love cats. How did you find her, or how did you
She's a so
how
she's
did
a
you find you?
well, she's a Sphinx cat, and we needed some. Steve's allergic to cats, and Sphinx
Oh.
cats are not a hypoallergenic breed, but it is easier to deal with them allergy wise because they have all the oils and the dander, but they don't have the fur to spread it all over your house. So we thought that would probably be a safer bet. And I mean, she's 15 years old, and
Wow.
so back then it's like I looked around at Sphinx rescues, and unfortunately there wasn't anything, you know, even remotely close to our area at that time that had any cats. But I found a really lovely woman who she wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like a kitten mill, like, but she had been breeding show cats and she was out of the game. She didn't want to breed anymore. So she had 2 litters remaining,
Wow.
of cats that had already been fixed, you know, neutered and spayed. And she was just trying to adopt them out. So, you know,
Mhm.
she was still about 4 or 5 hours from us, but, you know, we went up because I said, I want to see this place, because if it's terrible, if it's, you know, if it's awful conditions or whatever, you know, I need to know what we're getting into. But it was she's very nice, and her house was lovely, and everybody was healthy. Things were in good condition, and felt pretty good about
Wow. So you
adopting.
had a cat. So you had it for 15 years,
Yeah,
something like that. Wow. Yeah, she looks very peaceful. A good breed.
yeah.
Yeah.
She screams a lot, but I
Mhm.
think that's just her voice. I don't think she's in distress. I think she just.
Cute. Wow. So if somebody wanted to check out Ego Likeness, your website is egolikeness.com.
Mhm. Yes.
Egolikeness.com. And then you also have a Bandcamp page,
Yes. Yeah.
and your labels Metropolis Records if people want
Mhm.
to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And yeah, and we're all over Facebook, and um, I'm on. I have my own Instagram. I have D_note_ is like my personal Instagram, and then I have Garbage Witch, which is our clothing line.
oh, what do you have a website for your clothing line?
If you just so I don't have like an official website set up yet. There's a page on Facebook that's Garbage Witch, and then there's Garbage Witch Original on Instagram, and Garbage Witch OG on Twitter. And everything there's links on all of those that it just takes you to the Big Cartel store for now.
Oh, okay. I'll go check that out and follow it as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else you want to mention? If there's anything else like coming up, or I know, tours or concerts are kind of like, I don't know where, everything is
Yeah.
going in the future,
Well,
but
if everything is you know, everything goes as planned, and you know, conditions are right for it, we are scheduled to play at Unconvention in New Jersey in November.
okay.
We have you know, the event pages for that on Facebook. And then I think I know we have 1 or 2 online shows that we're doing again. Temple in Salt Lake City. I think it's number 4. We'll be doing that online also
Okay.
in November. So yeah, there's some things coming up, but not a whole lot. We're going to try. Hopefully, the Stone Burner shows that are happening this fall will happen, and
Yeah.
it won't be, a problem. And then we're just going to go from there. So.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a
Oh,
pleasure to talk to you. I really enjoyed talking with you.
yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. And so we have to come to Hawaii because there is no way that my anxiety-ridden self can live with having seen 49 states and not all of them. So
I know, man. That would be so incomplete.
I know I can't die without having the complete set. It's just gonna happen.
Well, it's got to happen then for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for.
there was, and then somebody never hasn't even said anything. Okay, there you go.
He talked himself out the other
I
night.
did.
I think.
We don't need to hear about him. Besides, she's prettier.
Well, he talked a lot, and his album is out now,
Mhm.
Apex Predator, on International,
Yeah.
and then we'll be waiting for the next EgoLikeness album when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, if you can just hold on for one moment, I'm just gonna disconnect our recording.
Sure.
Okay, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. 1 second. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me stop the recording here. Okay.